Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast series. Once again, we got some rookies, and we're always excited to have rookies. We're always excited for the NFL draft, right? Because we want to see the rookies, the shiny new toys. Who's coming in? Who's going to make a difference? Who's going to be, that breakout player? And folks, I think we got a breakout player here. This is Nick Uzzilia and Imran Pervaiz from the Generations Fantasy. Gentlemen, thanks for coming. Thanks for being a part of this. Really excited to talk about this product because this one's near and dear to my heart. As somebody who's been playing fantasy football since 1985, when you guys started talking, I could just feel the flutter. Like, oh, this is what we've been waiting for. All of us old OGs of fantasy football. So, Nick, Imran, how you doing? Thanks for being here. What's happening in your life? Obviously, we'll talk about Generations, but maybe just tell people, who you are, what your part in Generations, where you're from, where you live, that kind of stuff, so people kind of, get some ideas of who you two are.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, Bob. Really appreciate it. First and foremost, if we were rookies, I'm definitely breaking the record for the oldest rookie in the NFL history right now. But really, really happy to be here. My name's Nick Uzzilia, born and raised in the Metro New York area, lived here my whole life, lived in just about every borough. Been playing fantasy for a good, I'd say 22, 23 years now.
Oh, wow, you're out there, yeah.
Passion is definitely around football. Started out just playing with a bunch of family and friends, and then got a little bit more involved as I got older, and the resources started becoming a little bit more easy to come by. And looking really forward to having this conversation about Generations. This is a pandemic baby of a different sort. This was born out of a time where there was a need to fill the gap that the pandemic left with the uncertainty around live sports. And again, I know we'll get into that a little bit later. I'm the founder and CEO of Generations. So again, happy to be here. Looking really forward to having a conversation. And I'll swing it on over to Imran.
Thank you, sir. So yes, I'm Imran Pervaiz. I am the COO of Generations Fantasy. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Haven't moved. I literally live in the same apartment building I grew up in. I just took it over. So the rent control is great. Let's put it that way. Only way I can take advantage of it here. But yeah, it's funny. I got to know Nick over at work through a certain company working in banking, and we became really cool, really tight. Especially during the pandemic, things got tight around. We were trying to figure out what can we do when it comes to fantasy. He brought this idea up, and being addicted as fantasy as I am, how long have I been? Maybe about, I would say 15 years. years. I'm on the younger side of it. But since you started it, it was just you got hooked, right? And hearing this opportunity to be able to be a part of Generations, but I hope it bloom and help it grow to where it can be and where it's at right now. We're just super excited. Can't wait to really talk about it with everybody. Show it to everybody around when we get a chance to. But yeah, here to have some fun, Bob.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys, for being here. Imran, let's start with you again. You talked, you've been playing 15 years, but how did the bug bite you? How did you get that first inkling about what fantasy football is? Who pulled you in? Who got you in? How did the inception create for you for fantasy football?
I think it started, I'm going to say middle school into high school, maybe.
Okay.
I had a group of friends, we've been close together since kindergarten. Actually, my best friend since forever is from kindergarten. So, he started a league together, started to really just chit chat and really just talk trash. That's really what it was. End of the day, talk trash, right? But at that point, even I wasn't that invested into football. I was still figuring it out. I was kind of a different type of kid, video games and all that stuff, and sports kind of came late to me. But I guess that competition factor still kicked in. So once I saw fantasy football and how the game can apply to scoring and just beating people's asses, why not? Like, that was something that was for me. So I still remember a roster. I think the first roster I won, it was actually my first year. I won my first year. And I remember clearly that DJ Hushmanzada was on my roster. So that's throwing a name back, right? Exactly. So that was a championship. So I think once you started for the first time with a championship, you can't get enough. But really, I think how it continued for me is the different types of leagues I've had, the groups of friends, old colleagues. Like, even right now, yes, I am addicted. I have about 8 leagues, right? And as much as I let go of some, I end up joining like 5 more. It's just, it's
I'm in 30 if it makes you feel any better.
It's the excuse I tell my wife. Say, babe, I let go of 5 leagues. she doesn't know about the other 6 I joined.
Yeah, right. She doesn't know about the 8 you added.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I got groups from places I used to work at Apple, at certain banks, friends just in different other organizations, other teams I used to play in. But it just brings us together, no matter how far apart we go, no matter what happens in our lives. Like, we're all, life comes at us really quickly. It's one of the only ways we get to stick together, no matter how far we go. So to me, it becomes more than just a sport. It's just keeping people connected generationally. Better way to put it than that.
I love it. I love it. No, perfect scenario. Nick, talk about your experience. Who pulled you in? Who got you in your first league? How did you find out about it? How did it all work out for you?
So a little bit different than Imran. I was a sports fanatic from a very young age. Was athletic since I was 6, playing baseball, basketball, football as a youngster, and just really getting into watching sports as well. Favorite team's the New York Giants. So the '86 Giants were my first team of memory. The Super Bowl against the Broncos,
Sure.
and then just as I was getting older. I was constantly looking for different ways to consume football, different ways to engage. And I would agree with Imran with respect to it became something where it was a bonding experience. It didn't matter what was going on in your life from January or whatever until August. Once August hit, you started getting those notifications, those emails. Hey, we're going to go meet up at this place to do the live draft. And it really gave you something to do. I can't think of one specific individual that got me involved in the fantasy. I'm also a gambler, so putting up a little bit of money at the beginning of the season, bragging rights, all that good stuff, trash talking along the way definitely goes a long way. I haven't had the success that Imran had. I've probably only won about 4 or 5 leagues in my time, but that's okay. Still a lot of time to win more. If I were to say I had one fantasy highlight, and had nothing to do with me, more just to do with my cousin making a bad decision. The year Arian Foster broke out, he dropped him right before kickoff, and I picked him up, and I think he gave me, if it was either first week or second week, he gave me like 42 points and was a monster the rest of the season. So if I had one highlight to go back to, since I don't have as many championships, that would be one that I still bring up with one of my family members just to rub it in a little bit.
That's awesome. No, I had that happen to me with Doug Martin. I was in a league, and Doug Martin, after like the second week, got dropped, and I picked him up and rode him to a title because the rest of my team was really good, and I just needed that extra back. And man, he kicked ass for the rest of the way. So yeah, those things happen. Arian Foster, Doug Martin, it's all. Olandis Gary, way back, took me to a championship
that year
one
with
year.
D'Angelo Williams. On
there you go,
Pittsburgh
D'Angelo
Steelers.
Williams. Yeah, so it's always those guys,
there.
right? It's always cool. All right, so obviously you got this passion. You've been playing for years, lots of leagues. You're all jacked up about it. But talk about you said this kind of happened as a pandemic baby. Talk about what Generations Fantasy is, which I won't ruin it, but you're going to see my excitement on my face. Talk about what Generations Fantasy is, why it's the coolest new fantasy game I've seen or heard of in a long time. And how this all came to be between you two and took this to fruition.
Absolutely. So Generations Fantasy started in about 2019, right when the pandemic started, when Rudy Gobert shut down sports, rubbing microphones and all that good stuff. My wife was pregnant, expecting our first child, and looking for something to do, looking for something to still stay in touch with friends and family, not knowing how long things were going to last. And I started just thinking, how can we engage? And I thought about fantasy sports, and I said to myself, hey, look, there has to be a way to incorporate players from the past with players from today, those debates that you have with the younger generation or older generation about your generation being the best, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Marshall Faulk versus a running back of today. I don't really consider anybody better than him. That's my guy, Christian McCaffrey, for example. Yeah. So started thinking about how can we assimilate these two generations and how can we still engage in fantasy sports. So with that being said, had a marble notebook, started jotting down some ideas, started writing some things down in terms of how we could make this come to fruition. Once I felt that there was a solid plan in place, a foundation, called a few family members, few older, few younger, invited them over to my cousin's house, sat on the deck, had a beer, and did a live draft. picking players from throughout the history of the NFL. So my father was picking guys from the 70s and 60s. I think he picked Y.A. Tittle as his quarterback. So yeah, I think he did that just to show his age a little bit.
Fine. Yeah, right.
But
I get it.
He picked the old school guys. My uncle picked a lot of players from the 80s. I was a 90s guy. And what we did is we started looking at their games, the data from the games that they played throughout their careers, had a randomizer on our phone, went to NFLreference.com, started grabbing statistics randomly using the randomizer on our phone, converted the statistics from their historical games to fantasy points. And we started doing it manually for about a week or two. And I said, I have something here. Like, the drafts are the most fun that you could have. You're always going to have a solid team. You could pick an all-decade team, an all-franchise team, do whatever you'd like. And you could still engage and have fun with it. There's no, it's pandemic proof, it's strike proof, it's off-season proof. You could play 52 weeks a year. So it offers so many customizable options and so many things that you could do in terms of your preference and what you like to see. Then I said, okay, let's take it to the next step. Connected with Imran and our three other partners that are on our founding team, brought this idea up to them, very, very close, tight-knit group, and said, hey, you know, I'm interested in really creating this. How can we do it? Got together in a room, hashed things out in terms of who's responsible for what, how are we going to locate a developer, what are our rights legally? And we went through all the business stuff, the stuff that we didn't know as much about, relied on our tight network of friends and family that are in these different industries, and got off the ground. Once we were off the ground, we wanted to know if we had something sound. So we started connecting with industry experts, folks in the media business, folks in the fantasy business, former professional football players, and just ran this idea by them. And to a person, everybody loved the concept and any hole that was attempted to be poked in it, because we didn't go into this pitching this and talking about it like this is the next best thing since sliced bread. The way we always approach these conversations, and to the audience and people watching as well, would love to hear comments on what you think and why you think this won't work, because all that does is fuel us to fill those gaps, to address those concerns, to put a filler on whatever that area of opportunity is to make it better. So after we spoke to all these industry folks, media folks, professional athletes, we said, you know what, we have something here. Went to a developer, hired a developer, developed this for over now, I guess this is our fourth year in actual development. We're live on the App Store and the Play Store right now. You can download Generations. Caveat being all the customizable options aren't there just yet. We're waiting for that big check to come in to really take it to the next level, but it is live, playable. You can have drafts, you can have leagues, you can enjoy right now with your buddies or best friends. And if I left anything out, Imran, I'm gonna pass it on over to you just to see if I might have forgot anything.
No, man, I think you hit it on the head, right? I mean, when you came with this idea to me, I said, you know what, why are we not doing it right now? Because we don't know if we're going to have a season. Games were getting canceled left and right. Funny thing, I actually had joined in the first XFL season tickets for the New York Guardians. I was like, I love football. Why the hell not? I only got 2 games out of it, and then they canceled the season. So I felt that live. I was like, I needed my football fix. I was trying to get it with the XFL. It was cool. It was fun. Don't get me wrong, but nothing. I was like, why we're going to lose everything now? So when Nick brought this idea to me, you know, it was something that was like, hey, once he showed me the results and what his family did, I said, no, this is no way we can't mess with this. So let's try it ourselves. Let's have some fun with it. And then we did our own little podcast, right, just to test it out. And you guys can check it out on Generations Fantasy on YouTube, right?
I watched it.
Yep. So it is, you know, we're still, you know, that was the younger stage. Now we've aged a little bit, you know, so bigger beard, longer hair, all that good stuff.
Or less hair.
Yeah, or less hair at that fact, right? But I mean, just taking it from there, where it was just an idea of pen and paper, to where we're at now, you know, it's a beautiful thing to say that we made this together, right? We're self-funded, self-data scraping, literally pulling all the work together ourselves, and we're just regular dudes that just got together and tried to figure it out, right? And it's a product of the people, right? And I think we wanted to share that with everybody. So if you guys get a chance, definitely take a look at it. We want to see how you guys feel about it. I mean, generally you're able to do regular drafts like the way you normally do with a snake draft. We have obviously there's custom scoring systems coming right now, set the standard scoring just to make sure the ball is rolling and things are working right. Everybody can pick up and drop players as they please. You can set custom leagues to be able to add as many teams as you want to. The cap, I believe, is 20 teams.
Yep.
Nick, if I'm not mistaken, 20 teams.
What's the smallest you can do? Like 6?
8.
8. Okay.
And listen, imagine an 18 league. I mean, everybody's stacked, right? If you're thinking about all-time players.
And I think one of the customizations you talked about was you could draft from one franchise. Like you could, like, so all of you Giant fans and Jets fans could be like, all right, we're going to draft, but the only player pool is just the New York Jets for history.
Yep.
So, you can have Joe Namath, you can have, Chad Pennington, you can have, whoever.
The best part about that is we're about to do the next level of player updates and uploads of statistics. Like I said, we're doing it ourselves, but we got a bunch of new players coming in. We got updated 2023 statistics actually already in there, but we got some more players coming. So definitely keep your eyes out. Like I said, recommendations, feedback, throw it out there. If we're missing somebody or somebody you just love, like throw those names out there. We want to make sure we hear it. So definitely want to make sure we call that out.
No, it's very cool. It's very cool. So we're excited to announce, and is that one, you are coming to the Fantasy Football Expo. So talk about who brought you to this. How did you hear about the expo? I know we talked. I mean, maybe that was the first time you've ever heard of it. I don't know. So you can bring that up if that is. But what excited you about the Fantasy Football Expo? Obviously, your product is perfect for it. We know that. But how did you hear about it? What did you hear about it? And what got you excited about being a part of this year's expo?
I mean, this was the year we wanted to take the biggest leap we could, right? And our goal was to get our app actually on the App Store and Play Store by Super Bowl, and we did it the Thursday before. So for us, that was a huge accomplishment, right? And I think the best part about that as well is we were able to actually attend the FSGA conference. And, thanks to that, we were able to network, just talk a little bit about it, get some exposure, show people the application, got some great feedback. But like Nick said, nobody stabbed us with anything crazy, and again, the beauty of it was, hey, what can we do to help? What can we do to support you? I'd have to say this is probably the warmest community you can ever be, as competitive as you get, and all the trash talk we do. Oh, yeah. We all love each other. And absolutely. I want to just say that, like I said, we do these leagues to bring people together, right. And going to these kind of conferences and expos and all that, it's such a beautiful place to be, especially if you have a true passion for it, and bringing our product there, be able to show it around and get genuine knowledge, genuine education, guidance, support. Led me to you, man. And Bob, it was such a pleasure to meet you there. You gave me so much insight, and I was able to take back so much away to my team that even from then till now, we've made so much drastic moves, right? Again, a testament to you to be able to be so welcoming and warming. And when you brought this up and saying, hey, you could, like, we'd love the idea, love you to be here. I mean, we didn't think less of it. The second I brought it to the guys, where I'm already on the website. Not even that. Actually, before I was on the website, you actually emailed me. So I appreciate you for even thinking about me, man. Like,
yeah, again, no, well, so I remember we had a shared excitement, and I was like, man, I don't want Imran to, change his mind. So, hey, if you're ready to go, let's do this. And so we're excited to announce that Generations Fantasy will be the breakout stage sponsor on Sunday, which means they got 30 minutes on stage. So make sure you check them out when they're on stage. They'll be showing off their product, making you all download it, put it on your apps. Maybe we do a quick little draft. Who knows? That's all the fun that'll be there. You guys obviously will be there, and you got a booth. So for both days, both sports betting Saturday and fantasy football Sunday, you'll be at the booth for those 10 hours as well. Again, showing off the product. So one, thank you. We're really excited about you guys being a sponsor, but why don't you tell people what you got planned maybe for your on stage. Maybe you don't know it all yet, but what are some ideas you guys have kicked around for how to, obviously your product's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Everybody's going to love this. I don't know how they can't, but what things do you have planned for the booth and on stage that Sunday?
I think one thing we want to do definitely, and you mentioned it earlier in the conversation as well, is to have an interactive live draft and be able to engage the audience in that draft experience. Like grab folks' email addresses right there in the moment, have them download the app and do something as a community. We even should have the ability by then to do a live game at the expo itself. So maybe we could have a competition, bring a special guest up, and the audience can play a fantasy game or be in a fantasy league with this special guest who will be named later. Okay. So something to that extent. We're definitely going to have giveaways at the booth. So come see us. We're going to have raffles that include different athletic items, signed jerseys, signed helmets, and things of that nature.
Everybody loves
that. We want to engage the audience with that. Might be some Giants stuff involved in there. So if you're not Giants fans, it's cool. We'll have or Jets.
We're all fans of right. At some point, if Giants or Jets had to be on your fantasy team. I mean,
absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely. At some point,
I'm a Browns fan, and we've even had a few of those.
Yeah,
not so much a Jet player, but actually, shout out to Brees Hall, won me a chip last year.
I was gonna say Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. Hall. Yeah, I think they got some people.
I love.
There's Aaron Rodgers, dude. Might not be too bad if you get some.
Listen, let's work on that calf, man. Take care of the calf.
Yeah, that's right. Achilles. Take care. Work out.
And then some swag too, like just giving away some generation swag. If I would say there's one thing I want the folks that come by our booth and that engage us in conversation, if there's one thing I would ask and I would highlight and that I would love to be a proponent of, it's conversation, it's feedback. Again, Imran said it before. We're 5 normal guys. We own a company. We have a cool title next to our name. We're 5 people who came up with a pretty cool idea and followed through on it. And we would love to know what you think. So would love to engage the folks that come to our booth in conversation about what they think about the idea. Maybe some ideas that they have. Just exchange information, make connections, build a bridge, because you never know who you're talking to. Today, somebody might just have an idea at an expo. 2 years later, they might be the new best thing in the industry. And that's what we're hoping to be in this world right now. So definitely want to make those connections, engage folks on a one-on-one basis, get to know people, allow people to get to know us, our story in a little bit more detail, meet our whole team, and put a face to the application. So when you see an app on the store, you know where it came from, you know the hard work that went into it, you know the consideration that went into it to make it as enjoyable as possible, and you know that your voice was heard. If you have a suggestion,
and I think that's important. Yeah,
absolutely, that we're able to pivot and make a change in the application based on your feedback, based on your thoughts. Not a nameless corporation. Not that there's anything wrong with the big boys in the industry. God bless them. They give us the opportunity to do this every day. But we're the little guys that are here for the experience, for the users, because that's what we are, and that's who we are.
No, I love it. And, like I said, this expo was always created for us. I mean, it was my idea just in the same way it was your idea. It's like, no, we're going to do this and we're going to do it in Canton because I live here. It's a great place. We got the Hall of Fame, but we need to be able to get together and share all of these great things because we're all fans of each other. And that's what I've always told people is, everybody's like, oh, well, there's content creators and there's fans. I'm like, no, there's all fans. Some of them are content creators.
Absolutely.
And exactly. You guys are, I'm fans of your product because as an old school dude, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I can, draft some of my favorite Raiders players or Browns players or whatever. I think it's just a fantastic idea. So
can I add just one more thing too, Bob? I'm
please do. Yeah.
Just to your point right now about us all being fans and us all being in this industry and to Imran's point, with all the love in the fantasy community, I'd be remiss if I didn't also say you may think that you've heard of a product similar to this out in the industry because there are a couple competitors out there that have an overview similar type concept, and they're great too. No disparity towards anybody in the industry. We could all be successful. We could all sit there and get to the mountaintop on our own pace based on our own concept and idea. I would love folks to give us a shot because we do have our point of differences. We did do our research with our competition that's in the market right now. And again, for as great as they are, they're different from us. We're different from them. They have a lot of great things to offer, but so do we. So we love the audience to give us an opportunity and see what makes us different and see what makes us tick versus our competition and show love to everyone when it comes down to it.
I also don't want to forget, it's free, guys. Oh, yeah, baby.
There you go.
There we go. I'm not trying to scare you. We're free, baby. Come join in. Like, there's no reason to be scared, baby. No reason to be scared, guys. Please join in the fun. We just want everybody to join in.
And for everybody who's listening out there, don't wait till August to download this app and try it out and reach out to these guys and let them know what you think. Do it now and help this app continue to improve, continue to evolve. Nobody has any problems telling me how I should do the expo. And I'm fine with that because I have done some amazing things with people's ideas. So, that's why we're doing this video now. We want you guys to be known. We want people to try this out now so that by the time they get to August, they already know you guys personally. You've already interacted. You already shared ideas. They've shared ideas. Hey, have you thought about this? What about that? What about these players? What about? So that's what's awesome about this. That's why we want to always. That's why we like to do these videos. So, Nick, Imran, thank you again for being here. Both of you, one at a time. Just tell them where they can find, website, Twitters, wherever they can reach out to you, follow you, so that they can share their ideas with you, and then we'll take it out from there.
Imran, I'll pass that one off to you, sir. He's
man.
more of a social media guy than I am.
Well, at this point, yeah, I mean, I'm doing my best, man. I'm H2. The Grays are hiding in here. So you can reach us on Instagram. We're at Generations Fantasy on Instagram, on Twitter or X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it.
Whatever.
At Generations FA10, if I'm not mistaken. You got my personal at Pervaiz07. You got us on LinkedIn as well. You can look us up at Generations Fantasy. You can look me up as LinkedIn as well. Anywhere you guys can reach us, please, talk to us, man. We're here to talk, connect, grow together. We want you to be a part of it. Grow with us. Whatever feedback you guys can give. And again, shout out to Bob, shout out to the Expo, the things that they're doing, the way they're growing every single year and trying to make things happen and bring us together. It's a beautiful thing. If you guys want to check them out, check them out as well. Make sure you guys get your tickets. Don't slack on it, baby. The tickets are going, so make sure you get on that.
And if I could just add too, if you want to download our application, the App Store, the Play Store, whatever type of phone you have, Generations Fantasy Sports, we're there. It's our logo icon right there behind me. That's our logo. And again, thank you so much, Bob. And if you wouldn't mind, if I could ask just one follow-up question from your perspective, being that this is your baby and this is our first time attending the Expo. So I guess I was going to ask, as far as people attending the Expo for the first time, if you could have them take away one thing from attending the Expo, what would it be? What's your vision when you have people come to the Expo for the first time, or even repeat folks? It doesn't got to be the first time. What do you want people to leave with?
What I want them to leave with is a couple things we've already talked about. Number one, this community cares about each other very much. If you're turned off by Twitter and trolls and all that stuff, you're not going to find them in Canton, Ohio. They won't come. They know better. And two, I hope you walk away with learning something new or about a new product, a new thing. Hopefully it's more than one. But if you walk away just like you went back to your draft or you went back home and go, hey, Dad, check this out. We can draft the players from your generation. How cool is that? Or, like I said, or they go in their fantasy and they go from never making the playoffs to winning their championship because they listen to the Jeff Radcliffes and the Bob Harrises and the Howard Benders, even maybe me with a consistency guide. But learn something and just, enjoy the community and go, that was more than I ever expected. That's all I'm asking. And then I think we get that right now. And I will guarantee we will continue to do that for as long as I'm involved. That's for sure.
Thank you so much, Bob.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again for having me, for being on here, and look forward to meeting you guys in Canton in August. Between now and then, everybody get out there, get your app, get your Generations, start playing. If you got some ideas, share it with these two wonderful people. Once again, I'm Bob Lung with the Fantasy Football Expo. The fantasyfootballexpo.com is your place to get tickets. You can also follow us on Twitter at the FF Expo. Check out all the cool things. We're partnering again this year with the Hall of Fame Village. They're so excited to put this on with us. So the Dome will be there. The stadium will be there. Centennial Plaza will be there. And we're going to have a great time. So everybody take care. God bless. And we'll see you soon.